Uh-huh. Yeah. Middle thoughts. We love the family. What's up? What's going on? How y'all doing, Middle Thoughts family? It's your starting host, in addition to main sound engineer of the show, Chico. Today is Monday, June the 30th. The weather is 83 degrees, feeling like 90 realistically, with a beautiful sight of the clouds. By the way, shout out to Lil Boo Thang. Happy birthday, shorty. Moving on with the next segment, Coach Estrada and Accede. Tap in with some of the recaps of some of the games that in the last couple of days that y'all hit on recently or thought about taking. What we've been missing out on.
I'll tell you what you've been missing out on. It's Accede. We back. We back. All right, so last night I hit big again. I took the Vancouver Whitecaps. They were plus 370 when I took them. The line started at 380, finished at 340. They faced the Los Angeles Football Club. It was a late night game. They won 1-0. Honestly, I took this game after Philly lost. I don't know. I've seen the pattern before, so I liked when Philly lost 1-0 for the other game to go the opposite way. And the money lines were relatively the same. One was a little bit higher than the other one, and they ended up giving out the higher one. So I said I was glad I was able to scoop in on that one. But believe it or not, they have been giving out a bunch of big money lately. So one thing about it is the end of the month, you got to watch for them underdogs. The underdogs always shine. A couple of the lines that I came across that I liked, I didn't really get to take money on all of these. Some of them I put on parlays that ended up not hitting. But I'm going to just give you a little recap of some of the stuff that really took off that you can pay attention to. The Chicago Sky faced the Sparks, plus 210. The Chicago Sky was struggling, but they're a good rebounding team. If you out-rebound people, you eventually going to win games. They had a really good shooting night. They put up 92 points. Plus 210s are one of my favorite numbers. And once again, it strikes. The same day, the Colorado Rockies actually beat the Brewers on a plus 210 as well. They won in the 11th inning, 4-3. That was another one that I was tapped into. The thing about the Rockies is they might suck. And they might be the worst baseball team that we've ever witnessed this year, depending on how the rest of the season goes. However, they're going to win sometime. Clean up that money when it starts looking like they're due for a win. They lose 10-11 in a row. They're going to win eventually. Keep that in the back of your mind. Next, we got the Miami Marlins. They have been on a straight tear. I don't know if you've been paying attention to them, but they just took the Diamondbacks to the house and beat them 3 straight times. I took Miami on 3 parlays in 3 days. Unfortunately, I did not hit any of these parlays. However, that Miami line covered for me consistently. It was 158, 140, and 143 if you go back in history by the day. If you would have took them straight and rolled it over, you could have made some pretty decent money. Now, once again, Miami's not one of the better baseball teams, but they're going to win games eventually. So look for them to start making a little bit of a push before the All-Star break. Try to get back to 500. We'll see if they can do it. The Athletics came in and beat the Yankees plus 240. Honestly, I liked them in game 1. I took them on my parlay in game 1. Lost that parlay. And then they came out in game 2 and took that 7-0. I was a little bit upset. I didn't even have time to bet that day. But once again, another plus 200. Love to give them out at the end of the month. Okay, so next we go to this little run I've been on with these WNBA picks. I hopped in here. I had no idea what I was looking at. No idea what I was even doing. And for some reason, this Mystics team has just jumped off the page to me. And I've called 3 straight games. First game was a plus 300. The Mystics won. Second game was a plus 270. Mystics won again. Third one was a game against the Wings that they lost. but it was also a plus 285. So the thing about teams that hit big money lines, if they hit a big money line consistently, the chances of them hitting another one, very low. You see what I'm saying? You're only going to get so many of them out of a team per year. So if a team hits 2 or 3 big money lines, you can pretty much bet that they're not going to hit anymore. That's not always the case. It depends on the team. There are teams that I call money line killers, but a lot of that is because those teams are just really bad and they're always going to be underdogs no matter who they're playing. So just keep that in mind. And just remember, guys, when you're dealing with big plus money lines, and to me, a big plus money line is anything more than a plus 200, no more than 2 of them on a parlay ticket at a time. I know some of you guys love to chase the big money. The more picks you put on a parlay ticket, the less likely it is to hit. I know to some people, they don't care about that. However, I bet a little bit of money on my picks, so I like to get a little bit of money in return. I don't like just throwing $2, $3 on a ticket and hopefully I win, hopefully I don't. You know what I mean? So I do this to actually make some money. Hopefully I can make you guys some money. Like I said, I'm going to get back on the sportscast for you in a couple days. I'm about to take a trip. When I get back from this trip, we're going to get locked in, and I'm going to start trying to get them out daily for you guys. But that basically covers everything that I've looked through. Some of it I took, some of it I didn't, some of it I put on parlays. Like I said, I made a little bit of money off of some of it, but it's all luck of the draw. And by the way, straight bets are the best way to win. If you want the best form of guaranteed money, bet the game straight. Accede out.
As always, thank you for the valuable information on the sports betting recap. Furthermore, follow it up with Coach Estrada today. He's going to be covering sports news breaks, which is going to be major sports news, meaning what's going to go on the off season. Do they got some trades? What's the free agency market looking like? Also, maybe on how the team's trying to structure some stuff this upcoming year. How are the coaches moving? And then follow it up after that, we're going to finish up with some conspiracy theories, alien technologies.
What up, everybody? It's Coach Estrada back in here with my boy Accede.
How we doing? You know, we here for the evening.
Now we're back to some of our sports talk. It's been a little bit since we've looked around the NFL. So what we got going on today, man? We got some big trades going on between the Dolphins and Pittsburgh. Have you seen any of that?
Yeah, I saw it a couple minutes after it came out. I was a little surprised at first. I seen Jalen Ramsey. I thought that they were going to keep Micah Fitzpatrick and really lock down that secondary. But I found out about an hour later that Micah was actually a part of that trade. So I'm interested to see what they're going to do with the secondary now that they got a whole bunch of corners and they just let their best secondary guy go.
So I watched Pittsburgh do the classic Pittsburgh thing of like getting all these defensive weapons, and like the AFC North is looking very much their way of like the Baltimore going super heavy that way. It looks like the Bengals are trying to figure out their way that way, and also like the Browns are doing the same. But as I look at it, who is out there throwing the rock? Like, are we really looking at this 40-year-old Aaron Rodgers talking that he's going to make this happen? Or, like what's going on? Because the last I checked, he's talking about this might be his last season. So what are we going to get out of this Aaron Rodgers?
See, I love the Aaron Rodgers acquisition, to be honest with you. First and foremost, you are in a very competitive division. You got a lot of wide receivers to contend with, so I love the cornerback move. I know he's a veteran. He's going to help train the younger guys that are on the roster in case of injuries, stuff like that. Keep that in mind. But you guys are getting exactly what you're going for Pittsburgh fans. You're getting a defense that can pass rush and a secondary that can hold up and allow the pass rush to get there. So that can play into your favor when you get into them key divisional matchups later in the season. Now, with Aaron Rodgers being the quarterback, what that does is it brings in a veteran presence, which you weren't going to get from anybody else, and a quarterback that arguably still has more potential than the bottom 15 of the league. Like I said, arguably. But I don't think that he is being brought here to throw 5,000 yards. I think the offense is going to be run first. It's going to be a powerhouse offense. You're going to be seeing a lot of I formations, a lot of dumping off to the running back. And the wide receivers that they got are really going to be used in critical situations and third longs.
No, I feel that. But I'm also kind of looking at, too, because they acquired a couple more tight ends as well. So we're looking at a 2 tight end offense. We acquired DK Metcalf, and then got rid of Joyce Pickens, which typically whenever they get rid of a wide receiver, he typically is at the end of his career. I mean, we saw that with Brown. they got rid of him. He'd probably have like one or two more good seasons and he's gone. So maybe George Pickens is another one of those athletes that he could be an issue, or maybe he's just not worth the money we're looking at towards the end of that contract because we're getting some talent out of some of these new young guys. But I don't know. I'm a bit skeptical. I mean, that team's kind of old to me. Like they got to win today. They got to win now in my world. Even their running back situation is still a little wonky. Like I think them losing Najee Harris was kind of big. I'm not gonna lie with you.
Honestly, I don't think George Pickens is going to affect them as much as they think it is. He was a good receiver, don't get me wrong, but like he didn't really run a good route tree. Like he could run deep and get open, and he catches contested balls. Don't get me wrong. So like his big play ability will be hard to replace. However, they got this young guy, Roman Wilson, who can do a couple things, and a lot of people don't know about him yet. But he's coming back this year. He's another year in this offense, and he's got a veteran quarterback to teach him where to be and how to run routes. Keep that in mind. And if you know anything about Aaron Rodgers, he's going to dictate the placement on where he wants his receivers to go. They also have a history of not paying their players, if we're really being honest. Like, I can't really think of anybody outside of Ben Roethlisberger and a couple key acquisitions that they've really given big contracts to in the last 2 decades. A lot of the time when wide receivers get to that point, they do just get rid of them, and their careers do slump. So, once again, would you take all this money that he's going to want, mix it with the fact that he really can only run deep routes, and what are you really losing?
Really not a whole lot, because you're kind of right with the tree route running thing, because one of the things is I was recently listening to Devontae Adams talk, and he was talking about like running the route tree and everything like that, and like how important that is. And Aaron Rodgers, that's his favorite receiver, favorite weapon, so he likes his receivers that could run routes. He likes his guys that could also kind of improv and do things. Like just having a deep guy is definitely not his thing, though. He did love a guy like Jordy Nelson, though. That's how they won that Super Bowl. But outside of that, like, yeah, you're right. I could definitely see that. And, like, DK Metcalf can also run a deep route, too. Like, that dude's massive. He's still very fast. So I can see how that can go pretty well.
As far as the running back situation goes, I'm not even mad that they lost Harris. Harris was a good running back. Don't get me wrong. He had 4 straight 1,000-yard seasons. But he never really popped off the page to me. And even last year, as a younger back, Warren was really taking the page all season. So it didn't really surprise me to see them move on, especially with them drafting that running back. I'm looking up his name right now. All right, so I found it. His name's Caleb Johnson. He's an Iowa running back. He was averaging 6.4 yards a carry last year. He's 6'1", 224 pounds. So, honestly, and he runs a 4.6. So,
Yeah, power back.
Sorry?
Yeah, power back, don't we? Is that what he's going to serve as?
Basically. Yeah, he's going to take over that Najee Harris role. So, they let him walk and went and drafted a running back that matches his play style, his speed, his physicality, for a lot less of a bag than what LA paid for it.
True story.
And you still got Warren. You see, that's the thing about building your team in the NFL. Like, people think that players move around a lot, and they do. But the thing about it is these teams have to build their rosters, and they have salary caps. So you have to build your team through the draft. You can't keep everybody. So at some point, somebody's going to have to be that sacrifice. And with running backs in today's world, you got to your 30. He might have 4,000-yard rushing seasons, but he's already 28.
Oh, yeah. He's already a little bit older. No, that's true. So even we were looking at building around a league, even as hot as running backs are getting in the market, they still have the high injury rates. So even with Saquon Barkley doing the things he did, and he had an amazing season, him and Derrick Henry were still leading the market to try to get running backs back. We still had Christian McCaffrey done, and with Nick Chubb's getting taken out. So we still going to have that issue. And then also teams are going to have to figure out what they're really building around. And right now, a lot of teams need quarterbacks. The quarterbacks to kind of be the big issue. So I don't see teams trying to build money around wide receivers and running backs as much. And they're going to have to dive back into this quarterback situation. This is about to be a problem here soon.
My last thought on this Pittsburgh situation with this trade, if Pittsburgh operates and runs the way that they're building this team to, they will win 10 to 12 games this year.
How do you think they do against the Ravens? Did they split?
I love the split. Honestly, I always love the split just because I'm a betting fan. You know, I love the split.
I think if the If the Steelers win the first one and the second game's at home, they sweep.
I can see a flip flop. I really could.
I think
it's going to be two competitive games, and them games always come down to one possession. They're both going to come down to who has the ball last. It don't matter where you play.
I think the winner of that first game, if they have a home game that second matchup, they win. I think that's how it'll go. I haven't looked up their official schedule, but that's how I think that'll go.
I still think the Ravens the best team in the AFC, though.
I do too. I just don't think their offense is consistent enough through using versatility of their weapons. Like, I cannot believe I watched that draft this year and watched them walk away from so many amazing wide receivers knowing they needed one, and they kept drafting players that were good players, don't get me wrong, but did they exactly need them at that exact spot?
Maybe they felt they did. Once again, you got to deal with a salary cap, too, so just because you need a wide receiver doesn't mean you don't need other positions, too. You got to look 3-4 years down the road when you draft them.
True, but I feel like I watched them draft a D tackle and a linebacker every draft in like the first 2 rounds.
That's fair.
Like they had that Iowa wide receiver on the board, and it got like a safety. Well, he didn't need that safety. Yes, that safety was good. Don't get me wrong, but he didn't need that safety.
They did need that safety. They did need that safety.
They needed that safety that bad.
Yeah, they needed that safety.
They needed safety that bad. They walked away from a fire wide receiver.
Yeah, their secondary was getting cooked last year. They had a lot of injuries. Don't get me wrong, but like for a good little bit, that secondary was hurt. When that secondary got hurt, they was giving up some points.
Yeah,
they needed that safety.
True story. I can get down with that.
But like the thing about that offense too is it's a run first offense. You run in first and second down 75% of the game. So you got Zay Flowers. To me, he's a low end wide receiver 1. I'd like to see him take another step. His hands are a little questionable, but he can go out there and take over a game if you really need him to.
He needs a partner. He needs another wide receiver out there. Not a tight end, not a running back, a wide receiver. All these people going, Isaiah Blakely's pretty much. No, he is a tight end.
Look. Isaiah about to have a breakout season. Draft him in your fantasy leagues. And by the way, speaking of fantasy, take the tight ends early. They don't produce points. Take the tight ends early. Yes, they are more valuable than the quarterbacks.
Depending on your rules. Check your rules. PPR leagues especially. Or if you have that tight end premium like where we're in, yes, sir, your top 3 tight ends are going to give it to you.
Yeah, definitely make sure you use a higher pick on tight ends. Honestly, if you get the pick of the tight end, I'm taking Kittle or Kelsey. You know, I feel like Kelsey about to have a walk-off season.
I'm taking Brock Bowers.
Brock Bowers is another one. I can't believe I just slept on him.
I know. I don't know how you walked past Brock Bowers. I was like, what are you doing?
Man, I'm still bitter I ain't drafted him last year. Come on. I took Xavier Worthy over him and got embarrassed.
You really did. I don't know why you did that. That was crazy work.
It's because I had TJ Hawkinson, man. I need him to come back like he was before he got hurt.
Shoot, you also had that tight end from the Lions?
No, I ain't got Laporta.
Yeah, Laporta's a dog. He's draft that man.
He's in the other fantasy league. But yeah, Laporta a dog too. But be careful with that. I'm going to be honest, because last year he didn't really have that good of a season. Like, he had an okay season, but I had him on fantasy, and he didn't really produce points consistently. So, be careful with that, because he going to get targets, but that running offense is continuing to get better by the year.
Don't sleep on that Cardinals tight end as well.
McBride.
Yep.
Trey McBride. Yeah, he's all right, too. I had him in a couple leagues a couple years ago, and he really went off for me. And Kyler Murray really showed some things last year.
Oh, yeah. All right, so since we're in the fantasy talk and things like that, let's get to a little sports kind of conspiracy theory real quick. A little sports one before we talk about a little fantasy talk. How you feel about that?
I'm interested to hear what you got for me.
All right, so we're going to talk about a very dominant running back in the NFL that got both the Madden cover and also got another like NCAA running back honor as well. And they've goaded these things as the curses of sports.
You talking about Saquon?
Saquon Barkley. What you think, dog?
I think this year I need to see him do a double hurdle. That's what the world needs to see, Saquon. Come on. If anybody can do it, it's you.
I need to see him like teleport or something. Like I need Saquon to level up his game. Like I need to watch him pick a guy up and throw him into another dude while jumping over a dude or something.
Yeah, I need a little jump cut left and then right over the 400-pound D tackle.
Now I'm gonna need him to stiff arm the 400-pound D tackle, stutter step the safety, and then take it to the crib with the peace sign.
All right, so here we go. Plus minus 1,300 yards.
Plus.
You like the plus?
I do, because so even though Saquon comes back into this offense and everybody knows who he is, I don't think it's the exact same situation as Derrick Henry. If you ask me about Derrick Henry, I'm taking the under. So with Saquon, he's still coming back into this high-fired offense. You still have to deal with all those wide receivers, their tight end options, and their running thing, and Jalen Hurts. So you have to respect all those pieces. So it wasn't like it was a breakout season that like he just kind of went crazy. Like, no, Saquon's always kind of went crazy. Now he got guys to play with, and it was just hard to deal with. Like, you looked at the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. They spent that whole game just looking at Saquon, and Saquon barely touched the ball. Still had a great game, might I add, but barely touched the ball. They spent all day staring at him, and they just threw the ball over the top. Von Smith, A.J. Brown, all day long, because they wouldn't put more corners on the field, because if you hand that ball to Saquon with corners on the field, to the crib. So he's still going to have that kind of season. But Derrick Henry, on the other hand, I don't think so. I think that wide receiver core, that throwing option is too limited. They're going to keep linebackers on the field. That is the whole reason why they got dogged by the Eagles, even though, I'm going to say this right now, Lamar Jackson be missing throws. If he would have made 2 more completions, they do win that game. Same thing with the Chiefs, first game of the season. But needless to say, they were able to keep more linebackers on the field to deal with Derrick Henry than what they would have to do the other way around, because they don't have a whole lot of throwing options. They have a low-end wide receiver 1, as you say. So according to the NFL as well, they got a high-end cornerback 1. So that took out Zay Flowers off bat. So outside of that, my number 1 is locking down your number 1 with no safety help. Then I can do whatever I want at that point. It pretty much looked like Revis Island during that game.
Respectfully. All right, I got one. You think Christian McCaffrey plays more than 8 games this year? and if you think he's going to play more than 8 games this year, do you think he can return to a 1,500-yard all-purpose running back?
Man, I don't know, but he's got to be made of like he's got to be made of the same thing that's made out of ramen noodles at this point to get back out there. Like, I don't know.
Made of Teflon.
You know, I mean, it's something, man. You know, a polymer of some sort that stops bullets and things is. My man, I don't know what I saw him tear. Like, I know what the report said of what he got injured, but like what I felt like my eyes saw was way worse than what his injury was. I don't know. I think he gets 10 games this season. I don't know if he plays all 4 quarters of them 10 games, but I think he's going to be in 10 games.
So we only had 10 games. You definitely on the under on the 1,500.
Yeah. Definitely on the under. I don't know. I think that they're going to... them losing Deebo Samuels is big, man. It's big. It's big.
It is.
Because I think Brock is a bum.
See,
Brock Purdy's a bum.
I don't know. Like, the biggest thing with Christian has always been the injuries. Like, if he stays healthy and can play an entire season, he's definitely scoring 1,500 yards.
But they used him as 50% of their offense, and the other, 35% with the Deebo. Guess what? Deebo's gone.
It's all right. They got Ayuk and Ricky Faircell now.
Ricky Faircell, who got shot, that's going to try to bounce back, and Ayuk coming off the ACL, maybe?
Yo, and they got Jawan Jennings. Don't forget what Jawan Jennings did last year. That man went on a tear the end of the year.
He's good coming off the bench. I don't know if he's good every day. He like a Nick Foles at wide receiver.
Well, that's why you got Christian. You got him back. He's supposedly 100% healthy.
I mean, they do got Mason in the backfield as well, but
they don't. He went to the Vikings.
Oh, snap. Never mind.
Guerrero? However you pronounce his name's back there now.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, watch that, too. Mason might take that job over there in Minnesota. That boy was cold. He once they started stacking the box against him because the wide receivers in San Fran got injured, he started slowing down. But that first 5-6 games of the season before they figured him out, he was putting up some yards. So that man could very well take that job over there.
He can catch out the backfield too. Don't get me wrong with that. He got hands.
Hands.
Yeah, so he was an all-purpose player. Like, he was a good, suitable replacement for Christian McCaffrey. But, Chris McCaffrey's who he is, but I don't think he has all that. But let's get to a deep dive question of fantasy.
Deep dive.
If you had the first pick in the NFL draft of any fantasy league that you're in, who you taking with the first pick of the draft in fantasy this year?
Splash. Huh.
All right, let's start with this. We're going to start with...
Hold on. Honestly, I think that's a really easy answer.
We're going to start a repick league. That's what we're going to start with. Repick league first. Who you taking very first pick?
I've never done a repick league. I don't even know how that works.
So pretty much how it goes is every season you have to redraft your entire team in your redraft leagues. So what we do is, what we'll talk about in a second, is we do Dynasty, where we only draft rookies each season and have to build our rosters. But in a few redraft leagues, is every season we have to pick a completely new roster no matter what. Now, in some of those leagues, you have guys that we can pick players or save players. But we're just talking about a complete redraft league going into it. You got the third pick in the first round.
Look, personally, if it's me and I have the first pick of the draft, it's no question. I'm either going Josh Allen or Jamar Chase. My only issue with Justin Jefferson, and the only reason I don't put him right there, is because I'm not sure what we're going to get out of JJ yet.
Nah, I feel you on that.
We ain't see nothing. He didn't play nothing last year. He was hurt before the season even started, and they put him on IR. They're confident in him, obviously, but I haven't seen it. I got to see what they see before I can tell you to rely your fantasy on him for the first pick overall. Jamar Chase, he's coming back. You got Joe Burrow back there. He's destined to have another big year. T. Higgins on the other side. That offense is back and ready to perform. Chase Brown's back there. They got weapons.
Shoot, man. I think I'm either going to go, I'm going to go a different route. I might go CeeDee Lamb or Saquon Barkley.
Saquon just not going to produce enough points for me. The issue with Saquon with me isn't the running yards or the touches. It's the fact that Jalen Hurts is going to take the touchdowns.
Nah, yeah, I feel you on that. But either way, man, he is a fantasy freaking monster.
You're not wrong. But the thing about it is, you have that 1 week where he gets no touchdowns because Jalen Hurts rushes 2 of them in. And now instead of getting a 25-point week, you got a 10-point week.
True.
So, that's my biggest issue with him. For a first-round pick, if I'm picking number 1, I can't rely on the inconsistency of touchdowns. I need, if you're number 1 overall in the league, you need to put up touchdowns every single week, or at least most of them.
Now, you're not wrong about that. All right, so let's dive into this then. We talk about keeper leagues, dynasty leagues. We have the same roster from last year. We're going into the draft this year. You can only pick rookies. Who are you taking with your first pick of the rookie draft?
Honestly, this year, it's no question. It's got to be Genty. I passed up on Browers last year, and that bit me right in my face. And I'm not willing to pass on what they're building over there right now. I mean, they might got a veteran quarterback in Geno Smith that's getting on the wrong side of 30, but they got time to work that out. He's got another couple years left in him. And you got that Brock Bowers kid that just came out and dominated last year. Jacoby Myers really came on the scene after Devontae Adams left. So you put a running back there, it's going to take the pressure off of the quarterback. He's going to be able to break some tackles, create some space. It's going to make him have to put some extra people in the box to slow him down. Geno can pick apart the defense.
True. And remember, in Dynasty, we're talking longevity of these programs. So as we're going to keep these players every year. I also love the Jitsi pick. I'm very high on Cam Ward myself. If you're a team that needs a quarterback, if your team is struggling, that's a very good viable option for you there. At least that's how I feel about him. And then there's also the super dicey pick of the Heisman Trophy winner, Travis Hunter.
I am not drafting Travis Hunter. I can tell you that right now. I have picks 1 and 2, and he is not even on my top 5. Not even close. He's going to be a number 2 wide receiver, first and foremost. And secondly, he's going to be playing defense. So not only are you not getting the primary targets, but you're also potentially going to lose snaps because you're going to be playing both sides of the ball. And you're risking more injury because you're on the field longer. And he's not really that big of a guy. The people in the NFL hit a lot harder. They're a lot faster. And he's going to have to show everybody that he's going to be able to maintain his body and his physique and not get injured. And again, he played at Colorado. He didn't play against the biggest people. He didn't play against the fastest guys. So now that he's taking that step, it's going to be a big step. And I'm not saying he's not going to be good. I like his talent. I just don't like him for a fantasy perspective of basing my entire season off of my rookie picks.
No, I agree with that. I think he's having a pretty tough time as far as producing fantasy points. Like, I think he's going to be a great NFL football player to have. I think he could have potential to do things. But as far as a fantasy comes, I'm not willing to be like, I think this could be this player. He does have that home run type S that he could do with the deep ball, even some inside routes. But I would go somewhere kind of safer. I think there's a couple other wide receivers that are in this draft that are also viable. There's a couple other running backs that are there. And then, like I said, Cam Ward, I think, is the best quarterback on the board. I know some people are high on Shador. He's not even going to be their starter. I think I don't know. Is it like, if I got Shador, I'd probably take him in the second or third round. And I'd be kind of sitting him in my taxi, just kind of looking at him, just see how he pans out there. And just kind of see, because I feel like the Browns are still kind of a mess.
Swing and miss on Shador. Swing and miss.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
That's the best advice I got. I could see him being the day one starter. I don't know what to believe as far as the reports that are coming out. Until we get to OTAs, we're not really going to get any actual information on what's going on. So, but as far as talent evaluation, if Gabriel does not win that job, it's got to be Shador. You can't draft two rookie quarterbacks with the type of hype and careers that they had and not start one of them.
Dude, they traded for a quarterback too.
It don't matter.
They have 5 quarterbacks at that camp.
Yep. And after the preseason, they're going to have 3. So 2 of them jobs are for the wraps already. And I'm pretty sure we all know who's getting cut, because you didn't just spend 2 draft picks on 2 quarterbacks to not keep them both.
Should they released a report today saying that Deshaun Watson wouldn't be ready to practice until October?
Deshaun Watson's out of there. Period. The thing about it is his deal is fully guaranteed. So, like, even if they kept him on the roster this year, you're still going to have to pay the cap. It doesn't matter. So you might as well just cut him. He's not going to play. You can pay him the rest of his money and just move on from the mistake. You know, you swung at that one and you definitely missed. But that's the Cleveland Browns way.
He went from the magic man to the massage man. What do they say? Abracadabra, alakazam, Houdini.
You think he showed Justin Tucker the way?
Did you ask me that he showed Justin the Tuck?
Justin Tucker the way.
I hope not. No, Justin Tucker be beating his wife too.
I mean, Baltimore and Cleveland not that far from each other, and they do play each other twice a year.
Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord.
All right, let me stop.
Yeah, that wraps up our football talk for today. Yo, I'm not sure. See, you're a big baseball guy. We're both Yankees fans. I'm actually from the Bronx myself, but I don't watch baseball at least this part of the year. I usually wait until like mid-July. But see, he over here, we be cleaning up on some of them dollar bills with some of these parlays. So how you liking baseball so far? How the Yanks doing?
Honestly, man, we're doing good. Like I said, we've been in this mid-season slump. We just got to play the A's, so, you know, they're not the best team, so we got to bounce back a little bit from that. We did get walloped 7-0 in one of the games, though. That division's tightening up. And, like, I don't know if people are paying attention to that, but, like, the Yankees were quite a few games out ahead, and that lead is dwindling. They're now 1 game ahead of Tampa Bay and 3 games ahead of Toronto. So 3 games separate the top guys in that division.
Love that.
We're not even at the All-Star break yet.
That's what I said. I usually don't start watching baseball until after the All-Star break.
But I love how everybody came at our pitching, and our pitchers doing just what everybody thought they wouldn't do. Holding it down for the offense.
I mean, listen, I'm not mad about it, too. It's like, we did get that new technology on our baseball bats. Actually, I want to acquire one of those myself. I just want to swing one, just see how it is. But I know it's just because they moved the weight in the barrel, so I know that was like a big thing. But I feel like everybody can do that, so go ahead, do what you got to do. But yeah, baseball's looking kind of good. Who do you like so far going into the All-Star break?
As far as like my favorite team to watch on the season,
Yeah.
that's not the Yankees.
Yeah.
Okay. Shoot. Honestly, like Philly's been fun to watch. Their run production is nuts. I don't know if you've been paying attention to that, but their run production is nuts. When they are on, they are on. And they got some real home run hitters over there. That park's definitely a home run park too. The ball carries.
Oh yeah. It's the air in Philly keeping the ball in flight.
Honestly, I was kind of getting high on them Diamondbacks for real, but they just started slumping too. They were on a nice little run, and then I don't know what happened.
That heat wave hit. That's what happened.
Yeah, but they play in Arizona. There ain't no excuse for that. They used to that heat.
They out there dehydrated.
Yeah, they are. It was like 110 all week long. Praying for y'all.
They out there hot and dry.
And bothered. Because they lose it. Imagine it being 110 and you get smoked in your own ballpark.
And probably get harassed by tarantula too. And you know they probably got tarantulas and scorpions out in them dugouts and stuff.
Man, they got a scorpion nest under the first base.
Oh, no. Dude, listen. I don't mess with arachnids. Nah, son. Nah. I ain't mess with that. Listen, there's a couple things on this earth that I fool with. And there's some things I don't. I do not mess with arachnids of any form of things. But speaking of things that you don't mess with, yo, bro, have you been, like, checking out any of the news recently or anything?
In regards to?
That Buga Sphere?
Oh, yeah, that thing's kind of crazy.
Yeah, bro, you see that thing? What do you think it is?
Ooh, I ain't got no idea. So it's made of multiple different metals that are different densities.
They call it an alloy.
Like, that is, I mean, I get it, but like it's the way it's built. Like, how do you build a seamless metal sphere?
That was not welded, not anything. It was just, it was almost like they like made it in a ball, and then actually, you know what I think they did? They built it from the inside out.
Well, that makes sense because it has holes drilled in the middle of it that go all the way through it.
So I bet you what they did was they were able to they start from the middle because it has a core. So the way that I understand it is that it has a core in the middle that revolves around each other, which creates infinite energy. So because we're talking about like quantum physics essentially, or just kind of like on polarity. So what's happening on the inside is an unlimited battery. Because what is happening is that it's able to kind of like die and recharge itself in a rapid rotation of each other. So instead of it like a fuel cell turning from one thing to another. So like usually how like energy works is that like you start off with like a big thing and it breaks down to a small thing. So that's kind of like how like we're breaking down things. So with this, I feel like it's able to kind of break down to the smaller particles, and the particles are able to build back up and go back to the other side to refunnel energy.
So how do you put a circuit board inside of it and outside of it that communicate with each other?
I think that they put receivers on each side of it.
How? Well, the outside only has the spot on one side.
But the same spot is recreated on the inside too. It's on the inside of the core. And that's actually the shape of the way the inside is. So I think the outside is in direct response to the rotation that's pushed up through the holes.
Y'all following this? Y'all following it? So the real question is, do you think it's of alien nature, or do you think we built it in a lab somewhere and they was flying one around and crashed it?
Yeah, I think somebody lost that. I think somebody got fired that day. That's what we're gonna call it. They got fired.
I mean, they said they flew it into a power line, which is crazy.
Yeah, I think somebody was like taking it out for a spin or like was working with something and then like got lost and they're like, and then another country recovered it and said, yeah, this is ours now. And now other people are like, hey, can I buy that? And they're like, nah.
Yeah, because they knew they couldn't do it in the United States. Everybody would have been watching.
Yeah. So they went somewhere else. Like, yeah, we lost our thing. So I feel like we just had a different form of like technology that we use that we're testing out, and we lost it. And now it's a lot easier to be like, this is an alien. And the government goes, this is an alien. versus, hey, man, this is a $4 trillion project I just lost.
Ouch.
Americans trying to figure out where their money's going, losing stuff. Listen, if you look at the amount of money that the government wastes in military budgets, not just spending the wealth we waste in military budget, we could give every American student, if we accounted for the American waste that we had in our military budget, we can give every American citizen $200,000 a year and just their wasted military budget spending.
So this is why I don't think it's of military origin. So if it was a military origin, they would not have let Mexico have it.
I feel like they're just saying that Mexico has it. I feel like Mexico recovered it, and we just went over there and said, yo, thank you.
I mean, yeah, it is possible. It is possible. And you definitely wouldn't know that.
Yeah, so
we going to have to wait and see if more information comes out on it.
I bet nothing comes out.
I honestly agree. I really want to know how you can pour water on it and it evaporates.
So, I know, because they said it's cold to the touch, but when you put water on it, it evaporates. I think what's happening is that it's changing the state of the nature of the water. It's not actually heating it up. I think it's actually just making it transform. I think the motion of what's happening inside has the ability to change the way particles come together and form. So I feel like part of its abundance of energy with those holes is able to pull in probably like matter from within. So if it was able to turn water into that state, it could have just had a chemical reaction to it, automatically change its state. But also that chemical reaction that it had allowed it to generate its own self. So instead of the heat happening from the outside, the energy is sucked within the holes, which is generating the energy, which is why there's no heat on the outside. The outside of it is probably geared towards a material that's used to keeping things stabilized and cool to deal with the heat from it in general on the inside.
You think we can fly it to the sun?
I feel like that's what they probably want to do with it. That might be the purpose of it.
Fly it into a black hole?
Yo, so I actually have a whole theory on what I think a black hole is. I don't think it's a hole, bro. Well, actually, hold on. There's a couple things that's going on with it. So there's a thing called a white hole now.
Oh, yeah?
Yes, the white hole.
Tell me more about the white hole.
It spews out.
Does it?
Matter and particles. And the black holes suck them in.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
So, do you think every black hole has a white hole on the other side? Is that what we're getting at?
Nah, man. I think, like... All right, so this is what I think it is. I'm going to put it in the most interesting terms ever. I want you to imagine the palest person you've ever met in your life. That's what I think the sun is.
Quit coming at me, bro.
Now, I want you to imagine the darkest complexion you've ever seen. Not me, I'm brown.
Oh, no. You were definitely not.
Like, let's say like Wesley Snipes.
Wesley Snipes.
So that's what I imagine a black hole is like. It's just a mass of gravity. It's just so much gravity that's happening in the air that light doesn't escape. That's what I think it is.
But where does it go? Nowhere. So it just falls into a hole of nothing?
Nah, I think it just sticks to like a planet you can't see in.
A different realm?
Could be.
Kind of want to jump in a black hole.
Or it could just be like a fly trap.
Well, call me a fly, baby.
Go into the light.
Where can... Hey, yo, Elon, where can I get a ship to a black hole?
Man, listen, Elon about to start the Terminator. Better watch out. It'll be a Terminator, a Matrix. We got to figure out who Neo is. Where's Morpheus? I know the Oracle's somewhere.
Matter of fact, if you want, you can send me to Mars.
Nah, I'm not going there, bro. That's the old planet.
Yeah, I'm trying to go back.
That's the old planet, bro. That's a nuclear fallout. That's what that show Fallout is all based off of, Mars. Actually, nah, that's Dune.
I never watched it.
You should check it out.
I probably won't.
Well, y'all. That's it for our sports talk and our conspiracy theories, y'all. This is your boy, Coach Estrada.
And this is Accede. We out of here. I hope y'all enjoyed the talk and everything that we brought to the table today. All of our interesting ideas. Hit the comment section if you agree or disagree. We want to know your opinions.
Peace.
Peace out.
There you have it, Middle Thoughts family. Let us know in the comments if there's any hot topics that we should cover in the future episodes. With that being said, like, comment, share, subscribe, and most importantly, down in the description, make sure you check out the new merch, bonfire.com/shop/alienware. One more time, bonfire.com/shop/alienware. Make sure you cop that alien tech. And as always, make sure you also check out our social media pages to stay updated with the family. In addition to that Linktree Middle Thoughts podcast, we have a Spotify channel for you Spotify users. We also have an Apple podcast for the Apple users. We also have an Instagram for you Instagrammers that like to take flicks and post up on the gram. Followed up by, for you TikTokers, we definitely have a page for that. And the ones that like to do threads in the cut, we got something for you. And then on this HelloFresh, if you claim 10 free meals from the HelloFresh app, they're going to hook you up. Make sure you tap into that. Once again, don't worry. We're going to have all this information in the description, followed up by Hulu. If you sit here and sponsor with them, right now they're kicking off an enjoy 30 days of Hulu for free. Definitely go check them out for the people that like to watch movies, sitcoms, all that fun, happy stuff. They looking out. And not last but least, we got the good old Sam's Club. If you like to shop in bulk, definitely take advantage of this one. If you join now, right now they're going to hook you up with a 50% off club membership. If I were you, go get that. For those that know, you know. If you don't, now's the time to figure out. Once again, all the links is going to be down in the description. Check it out. Love y'all. Peace.